Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. With the upcoming presidential election, it seems as though tensions have never been higher. We've seen a rise in extremism, we've got protests that end in bloodshed, political divisiveness, as well as a reevaluation of constitutional rights and what exactly that entails. Are we doomed? Are we destined to follow in the footsteps of previous empires? Maybe. However, there is a candidate unlike any other. A truly honest candidate who understands his constituents and has remained steadfast in his policies throughout the years. Never once compromising, he's been the subject of many a controversy, beloved by millions but also dismissed by the general public. He's been rejected and censored by his peers, all while fighting government hypocrisy. So without further ado, I give you the friendly fascist, the tyrant that you can trust, the man, the myth, the legend, the irreverent, the many, and the only Vermin Supreme! That's right, folks, I'm officially throwing in my towel for Vermin Supreme.
I will take that as an endorsement.
But who is Vermin Supreme, and what does he stand for? I believe in this case, actions speak louder than words, and this is perhaps best exemplified in 2006, where he donated his kidney to his own mother. You wanted to know what Vermin Supreme is? Vermin Supreme is love. I love Mama! Yet another reason to vote for Vermin Supreme is his glorious facial hair. If elected, Vermin Supreme will be the first president in over 100 years to have a beard, thus putting an end to the facial hair conspiracy and breaking the oppressive chain of the cleanly shaven. He will unite all beards, from the 5 o'clock shadow to the Walt Whitman and everything in between. Now you're probably asking yourself, yes, Vermin Supreme is amazing, but what are his policies? Well, I've made this graph to illustrate my point. Perhaps just as iconic as the beard or the boot, Vermin Supreme wields a magnificent giant toothbrush, a symbol for his mandatory toothbrushing laws. This has been a staple of his platform for many years, and so as not to do a disservice, I would like you to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
For too long, this country has been suffering a great moral and oral decay, in spirit and in incisors.
A country's future depends on its ability to bite back. Gingivitis has been eroding the gum line of this great nation of ours for long enough and must be stopped.
Together, we must brace ourselves.
We can no longer be a nation indentured.
Our very salivation is at stake.
Now, not only does Vermin Supreme walk the walk, he also talks the talk, being the only candidate to release his dental records.
Are they soft on plaque? I believe that they may be.
Now, people have had their concerns, asking, is this about the secret dental police kicking down your door at 3 a.m. to make sure you've brushed?
It is not.
Is it about the dental re-education centers and the preventative dental maintenance and detention facilities?
It is not.
Is it about the government-issued toothpaste containing an addictive yet harmless substance?
It is not.
Well, what is it about, damn it?
What this mandatory toothbrushing law is really about is strong teeth for a strong America.
Hard to argue with that. Vermin Supreme 1, Lesser Vermin 0. Let's face it, America and the world as a whole is suffering through an energy crisis. Renewable energies and trying to curb our reliance on fossil fuels is a start. But ultimately, these are just band-aids on a much larger issue. Vermin Supreme is the only candidate to have proposed a permanent solution to this, his Zombie Preparedness Act.
Zombie preparedness, the only candidates with a zombie preparedness plan.
Not only has Vermin Supreme found a solution, he's also solved the logistics and application of these policies.
We have giant turbines that we're working on, sort of dangle brains in front of them, and then they will turn the giant turbines, creating energy.
The Zombie Preparedness Act helps with the climate, yes, but it also provides safety for NZPs. These propositions, however, have been shot down and vetoed by the political machine. Why? Politicians rely on these zombies for their votes, and anything that threatens this dynamic will get struck down.
Together, we will ride our ponies into a zombie-powered future!
Vermin Supreme 2, Lesser Vermin 0. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. When was the last time that you heard a candidate talk about time travel? If you're drawing a blank, it's because they don't. Supreme, however, is adamant about funding time travel in full. Amongst its many other uses, Vermin Supreme has declared he will go back in time to snuff out baby Hitler, and not just smother. Vermin Supreme has promised to preemptively end baby Hitler with his bare hands. The only previous candidate to speak out on this subject was Jeb Bush, but Vermin Supreme makes a very important distinction.
Jeb Bush said he would kill baby Hitler. I say I'm gonna.
Upon further investigation, it would seem that the only time Democrats have expressed any kind of interest in time travel is regarding the 2020 election. And Republicans? Well, the only time they've expressed interest in time travel was regarding the 2020 election.
Coincidence? I think not!
Vermin Supreme 3, Lesser Vermin 0. Another mainstay of Vermin Supreme's platform is his free pony policy.
It is called Pony Up America.
Free ponies for all Americans, one of the overlooked issues in America today.
Once implemented, the free pony policy will also help with security in regards to the pony identification program.
And of course, the important thing to realize is that it is a federal pony identification program where you will need your pony with you at all times.
As well as energy.
We'll also be able to turn all that pony poop into methane gas.
Pony for every American would indeed solve a whole lot of trouble. We're talking post-fossil fuel.
There is a free ass policy, however, you have to be in Congress to qualify.
Oh my god, that is funny!
Many critics of the free pony policy have said it is unreasonable, nay, fiscally impossible to implement. However, I'd like to dive a little deeper into this. As it sits now, there is about 336 million people in the US. The initial cost of a pony is around $1,000. This is the government we're talking about, so let's just call it an even $2,000. That means to buy every American a pony, it would cost around $672 trillion. After that, it costs about $200 a month, so annually that comes out to $2,400, plus hay grain and minerals coming out to $3,760. Now ponies live around 20 to 30 years on average. Since this is the government, we'll go 30 years. That comes out to $112,800 for the lifespan of a pony. Times that by the population. Now all we have to do is add the initial pony cost of $672 trillion, and we get this. I don't know what this number is, but it looks exponentially large. We'll come back to this.
The road to Ponotopia will be paved with the glitter-encrusted skulls of our vanquished foes.
Vermin Supreme 4, Lesser Vermin 0. In this day and age, it's difficult not to be concerned with the looming threat of nuclear destruction. Vermin Supreme has a plan to thwart this potential catastrophe through his DTD strategy.
Disarmament through deployment. We should get rid of the nuclear weapons by using them.
Not only will this rid the world of nuclear weaponry, it also works in tandem with Vermin Supreme's zombie preparedness policy, as the ensuing fallout will most likely create a spawn of hellbound mutants that we can further use for energy production. You remember the pony debt? Well, that was pre-nuclear deployment. So let's say a series of nukes are detonated in cities chosen totally at random. New York City, New York, Los Angeles, California, Seattle, Washington, Topeka, Kansas, San Francisco, California, Twin Falls, Washington, D.C. Ooh, wrong photo, sorry. There we go, fixed it. Washington, D.C., Maryland, Zinc, Arkansas, and lastly, Portland. Now, when it comes to nukes, I like to play it safe. So let's just say, as a generous figure, only 50% of these populations no longer require a pony. Times that by our pony costs, and voila! Now all we have to do is deduct that from our overall pony costs, and we are left with this. It's smaller. Fuck it, we'll just print more money. Vermin Supreme 5? You know what? It seems like the deployment of nuclear weapons is something all politicians agree on, so we'll give it to him. Vermin Supreme 5, Lesser Vermin 1. Though the genius of Vermin Supreme is obvious, I would like us to take just a moment to truly appreciate his prolific words.
I will promise you anything your little electorate heart desires.
Should you take me seriously as a politician? I sincerely doubt that.
And you'll never guess who I saw.
Who did you say?
Mr. Joe Biden. They have him working for the TSA. Fortunately, he fell asleep while he was sniffing my wife's hair.
If I had Trump's resources, I would have been the president long ago.
It'd be a shame if anything were to happen to it.
There will be sacrifices. Human sacrifices.
If we lower the voting age to 16, boom, I'm president.
And you should let me run your life, because I do know what is best for you. I have no intention of keeping any promise that I make.
Poetry. Pure poetry. Remember, folks, less tinfoil hats and more rubber boots.
Look out, Vermin's coming!
So if you're wondering who to vote for in this upcoming election, vote for Vermin Supreme, because it's not like your vote matters anyway.
Remember, a vote for Vermin Supreme is a vote completely thrown away.
I am once again
asking.
Like, comment, and subscribe. And with that, I'll give Vermin the last word.
It's all me, baby. It's all me.